Welcome to a new video, to a new series. We will discuss learning instrumentation and control. In this video, we will talk about starting points and your roadmap and where to find more resources for your education. So let's start with where you are now. So you may be a student, undergraduate in chemical engineering, electrical or technology or mechanical and so on. You may be an engineer in design company or sales company or construction company. You may be working for manufacturing or for sales and application and maintenance and construction. So this is where you are now. So you have to define where you are now. And then what is your goal? Now, if you are looking for the engineering companies, the requirement there is different than working for, say, manufacturing or system integration. System integrators typically are the PLC and DCS system cabinet builder and programmer. In the skilled manufacturing, they are mechanical skills manufacturer, but could be also having a PLC, could interface with a DCS, could have some smart controllers. So sales and applications engineers, they will serve most of those companies. So you will find somebody in sales for manufacturing and system integrator and a SCADA and so on. Their requirement in the instrumentation control is quite different than the maintenance people or the construction people. So Lunch and Learn will start a new series of videos discussing only the instrumentation. So the playlist will be called All About I&C, and it's step-by-step videos starting from a beginner level to a medium level to a little bit of a senior level in some of the videos. Most of the video will be medium level, but some of them actually will address the senior level requirement. And it will cover the engineering part, the application part, and field experience part. So as you can see now, here is the topics we will discuss. In the beginning, we will divide them into categories. The first one is engineering design and the project execution. In this series, you'll find about 20 videos. It's I&C introduction, P&IDs, HAZOP. So let's say if you are in engineering other than I&C and you want to learn about HAZOP. If you are a panel operator, you want to learn about HAZOP and see what they do in HAZOP, or prepare yourself for a HAZOP, or why they ask you to do this stuff. So that will be in the HAZOP. So it's a lot of stuff here. We'll talk about the project team, execution and deliverables in the design, man-hour estimate, project schedule, wiring, and how the control systems versus SIS systems. So all of this from design perspective. And there will be some videos discussing or explaining the chemical engineering or the chemical process for the I&C. Most of the I&C people are electric or mechanical or electromechanical engineers. So they don't have much of a chemical engineering background. So we will have a couple of videos discussing the, let's say, distillation column, reactors, and those kind of stuff. Also, we'll talk about controlling the boiler drum, heat exchanger, pump control as a typical applications. The second category is the field instrument. So we will discuss for each one of these the temperature, pressure, and flow, and density control valve, and so on, safety valves. So we will talk about the principle of operation and how they operate and the calculation. And of course, we're talking about the installation as well. And then specifications, meaning specifying and buying some stuff. So you will find here some stuff about the corrosion, how to deal with it, and meter proving, instrument signal type of signals. So you find a lot of stuff actually interesting. Control system, we will start with single loop controller, PLC, DCS, and so on. And then we will discuss the wiring, redundancy, how you can build your redundant system, and some of the reverse engineering and machine control as well. A special subject we will discuss in the weighing system and packaging and interface with INC, analyzers, hydraulic power unit, and operator training simulator. In the maintenance group and lesson learned, we will talk about very interesting stuff. We will talk about some challenges and problems I faced during FAT, factory acceptance test, and also some stuff I have to develop, like printed circuit board to test my PLC and evaluate if it can actually produce a pulse of milliseconds width and so on. So you will find a lot of very interesting stuff here in the lesson learned. And the construction part of it, it's addressing INC, but it is actually tailored for INC or non-INC people. Because if you are INC, you want to know how the construction goes. But if you are not INC, you may be civil engineer, but this is under your supervision or under your responsibility to follow up with the instrumentation. So you need to know what is the sequence of construction, and you want to learn something about what those people do in the construction. We'll talk about cable tray, cable laying, continuity, loop check, and also we'll discuss what does it mean a dry commissioning and dynamic commissioning. Now we will talk about the resources. Resources is very important for your continuous education. The first one is you go to a library and start to talk about search for the some academic books. So you can see one of those references is very interesting, which is Chemical Engineering Handbook and also Mechanical Engineering Handbook. Codes and standards, we will look at some of them and how to do search for the codes and standards. I recommend that you go with the ISA, NEC, and IEC and API at the beginning. And then you familiarize yourself with those stuff, and because they cover a lot of the instrumentation. But bear in mind that all of this, you will find some stuff for mechanical, electric, and for instrumentation as well. The government regulations, some governments, they give you rules to follow for safety, for custody transfer, and so on. And this is published online, so you can go and see what they have there. Organizations, some companies or some requirement for codes for, let's say, communication or types of valve or something. So there is organization had been formed specifically to do these tasks. Of course, if you are working in a company, maybe a plant or something, then you have a specific standard that had been tailored to your site and to your manufacturing facility. Publication and magazines. So the only thing which is I'd like to stress here, if you go to subscription in some of those magazines, some of them, even if you opt out from them, they keep sending you the magazine. So what I learned here is I will create a different email, a Gmail or whatever, and this specific email will be only for this subscription in those magazines and things, because after 2 years they keep coming back to you and you can't get rid of them. Of course, YouTube is one big resources, information, you can find it there. Vendor manufacturer, we will look at now, but they provide a lot of education materials. But you have to find, let's say, Eaton has a lot good resources for the electric. ABB, Emerson, Honeywell, Siemens, and all of them, they have a very good resources on the online. So we will talk about it in a little bit details now. Now, before we go to this, if you have followed all those stuff, which is we talk about, if there is contradiction, so how you do with the contradiction between some of those stuff? If you are designing something, you have to start with your the state, the government regulation. This is your starting, and you have to follow whatever they want you to do. Then you see what codes is applicable to apply it. So the codes is by the government or by your site or your by engineering company. They define the code which we have to follow. Then the next step is to follow your plant specific codes and standard and requirement. Then the best industrial practice. Now, talking about this contradiction, we have one issue. They call it the Swiss cheese model. If something is not addressed by the first set of laws, like the regulation from the government, and then there is no code applicable for it, and then there is no practice you can find, that means the risk goes through all those holes, and then we have a genuine and a real risk at the site. So this is, you have to think about it when you look at your process design. If you look at any manufacturer, INC manufacturer, you find a set of stuff they provide. They provide sales brochures, data sheets. Data sheets is very important because they will give you, the cut sheet will give you an idea on the valve, on a transmitter, on something. And then the installation manual, you have a lot of information in sizing and installing the equipment. And some of these guys, they give you a software to design your control valve, select your orifice meter, and selecting your transmitter and so on. And then finally, you have education materials. But be careful because normally the education materials or this stuff is tailored around the vendor material line of products. So you don't expect them to explain to you something which they don't produce. So they always will address their own line of products. Control valve, if you are working in control valves, one of the main items there you have to have is the control valve handbook by Fisher Controls, which is now it's Emerson. It is very informative. They have a lot of stuff, but don't forget also that other valve manufacturers like Masonil, they have their own control valve sizing handbook. Valtech, they have their own. Other manufacturer they have. So it's not only from one manufacturer, but you can see it in different manufacturers. They explain their how they calculate their CV, their valves, and so on. But a lot of engineering company and refineries now, they rely on the ISA 75 for the control valve sizing equations. So back to the vendors, you will find them, they will give you their own method of calculating their CV, the control valve coefficient, but also they will provide you with a method based on the ISA requirement. Technical monograph, because I worked for Fisher Control for a long time, and I found that this is, most people are not aware of their existence because they are old, and they call technical monograph. So let's say number 7, it talk about the dynamics of level and pressure controls, but they have many others. So take a snapshot of this screen and go and Google them, and you will find very interesting stuff. So let's say they will talk about dynamics of level and pressure. They talk fundamental of gas pressure regulation, three-mode controller, generalized control theory, and so on. So they have a very good material. You can rely on them. Mettler Toledo and those weighing company. This is one example I'm just giving. I'm not associated with any of the companies or the stuff I present in this video. I'm just giving them as a mean to see where you can find your information. They talk about the tank weighing and other stuff as well. If you look at, let's say, level measurement or tank level gauging system, some of them are local, some of them is custody transfer, some of them is very basic, some of them for wells. So if you look at all those companies here, they all manufacture sort of level instrument. So each one will give you different information and different style of products. So thank you, and let's see you in the next video. And don't forget that all of this video will be under a new playlist. It's called All About INC. It already has started now because I have already some of the stuff which is I built before. Now they go into this new playlist. So thank you and see you in the next video.